Live from the Gray Center's Studio A, it's Bronco News Now. Your news with Nick Musgrave and Danielle Schenk. Weather with Taylor Van Pelt. Bronco Sports with Jared Fox and Haley Moore. And entertainment with Kirsten Gilliland. You're watching Bronco News Now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the last installment of Bronco News Now. Until April 7th, I'm Nick Musgrave.
And I'm Danielle Schenk. Today on BNN, we will take a sneak peek at the HC Theater Students' senior capstone productions, a look back at Hastings Mayor Vern Powers' last 8 years in office, as well as an update regarding on-campus housing at Hastings College.
But first, our top story today, the Student Health Advisory, also known as SHAC, held a blood drive in the Student Union on Tuesday. This was the first blood drive hosted by the American Red Cross this semester. Donating blood is a simple process that allows ordinary people to do something extraordinary, and it's a great way to give back to those who are in need. A number of Hastings College students participated in this selfless event. Reporter Jordan Brown was on hand.
Each year, Hastings College is given a chance to help save lives by giving blood through American Red Cross services. A new process was used to counter the high demand from hospitals. Account manager Jeremy Apperly explained this process.
Basically what we do in doubles is we're going to collect 2 red cells from you and separate your plasma, your platelets, and return a water solution. And the reason why is the hospitals are really looking for those red cells for emergency and trauma situations.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs blood, which leads to 36,000 units of blood cells needed in America every day, according to the Red Cross. There were plenty of Hastings students who came in to make a difference.
Kind thing to do, I guess. Something that's not going to affect you negatively, so why wouldn't you try and help other people out?
If you were sick or you needed blood, wouldn't you want blood? Wouldn't you need blood? So I feel like that's why I do it, because I imagine myself in that situation.
Everyday people don't always know how much blood donations save a life. That was Jeremy Apperly until illness hit close to home.
Me, why I joined the Red Cross was personal. My father actually, when I was in college, actually got diagnosed with alpha-1. Has a lung disease where he's had his way of his lungs to can't breathe basically anymore. He receives transfusions every week of plasma, and it takes about 10 people to fill that bag.
This is Jay Brown giving you the news that you need.
It's great to see Hastings College students donating more than just their time to this great cause and saving lives one pint at a time.
Hastings Mayor Vern Powers announced last year that he will not be running for re-election. He has served as the mayor for 8 years and believes one of his greatest achievements will be the improvements done to 9th Street. Powers believes that it's time to get some new blood into the office. Our own Kirsten Gilliland has the story.
Powers began his term as mayor in 2008 and has been working hard to improve the condition of the city ever since. When asked why he was not going to run for re-election, he noted that his 8 years as mayor was long enough and that the city needs a fresh, new face to lead them.
And also as an elected politician, after all those years of doing projects, you just get tired and your ideas kind of run out. And I think that's where I am, and I think we talked, everyone that was up for election, including myself, we all talked and said maybe it's time now where we get fresh blood in Hastings.
Powers also mentioned several issues the city faced at the beginning of his candidacy. In his 8 years as mayor, Powers and his staff have managed to erase the $21 million city debt, work out a deal with the EPA, and began new programs and developments in Hastings.
But I mean, I think 9th Street, closing 9th Street, that's going to give Hastings College some opportunities to do some incredible things. Making it one contiguous campus, pinning in some kind of the neighborhood. It's going to let them put buildings up that they didn't have a possibility of doing before.
The 9th Street project was something that Powers worked on for the majority of his term as mayor, alongside Dr. Dudley, Dennis Trotter, and Don Jackson. After reflecting back on his years as mayor, Powers talked about some of the things he'll miss most about being mayor.
Getting to meet people. I love meeting people. I love getting projects done. I love attacking problems. Hastings was a problem in 2008, 2009 when I took office.
Even though he will no longer be mayor, Powers will still be heavily involved in the city of Hastings and the surrounding area.
Well, I'm part of many businesses. I have a manufacturing plant here, Pacha Soap. I'm part of Pacha Soap. The new brewery, I'm part of the new brewery. I've got businesses in Arizona and California and Lincoln. I spent a lot of time at Innovation Campus. I helped the University of Nebraska a lot with research. I've got a big research project going in algae and sewage. So I've got quite a lot to do.
As the November election approaches, Powers discussed the type of mayor he believes Hastings needs next, a positive marketing guru. Powers left the candidates with his advice on how to be an effective mayor.
Research the issues to the nth degree. It's okay to listen to advice, but you must form your own opinion.
For HC Media, this is Kirsten Gilliland reporting.
Powers, however, will continue to be heavily involved in the city of Hastings.
Hastings College has undergone several changes in the last few months. One such change was the resignation of Housing Director Erica Haberman. According to sources in the Student Life Office, Haberman left in order to pursue a career outside of higher education. Thankfully, her departure did not create a huge problem. Former director of Taylor Hall and previous housing director, Larry Herget, was able to step into the position and will hold it until the end of the school year. On our next show, we will take a deeper look at the situation.
Another change that might soon be affecting HC students is a change in email services. Several system issues have led to the planning of a transition to Google Mail from the current email system, Microsoft Outlook. Hastings College has been using Microsoft Outlook since 2010. The potential change is not required, but it is recommended. A trial group of students and faculty have been testing out the new email system and have agreed that it is a better overall switch. The positive feedback will eventually lead to a campus-wide email change.
Coming up after the break, Taylor will have today's and tonight's forecast, as well as the expected outlook for the next 5 days.
Taylor will be followed by Jared and Haley with your Broncos sports, but first we would like to thank one of our proud sponsors, Quiznos. Stay tuned, you're watching Bronco News Now.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills? Check. Driver's license? Check. And a high school diploma. You got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that. You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range.
Welcome back. I'm Taylor Van Pelt, and as always, I have your weather for today, tonight, and the next 5 days. And also, don't forget my ever-popular temperature tip for the week. But first, let's take a look at the high of Hastings today. Unfortunately, today Hastings will not be as warm as yesterday, but it will reach up to about 54 degrees, and it will be sunny all day. Winds will be blowing from the north around 15 to 20 miles per hour, but other than that, it should be a pretty decent day. Just keep a jacket handy just in case. Otherwise, go outside and enjoy some nice springtime weather. Looking into this evening, we will see a pretty chilly 34 degrees, so make sure that you keep this in mind if you're planning on taking a stroll around campus late at night. However, staying above that 32-degree freezing mark will help speed up your morning routine by avoiding you having to scrape your car windows. So now let's take a look at the state highs across the state. Chadron, you're going to see a high of 63, Scottsbluff 66, Sydney 64, moving up into Valentine with a high of 65, North Platte 61, McCook 63, moving a little bit closer to home, Norfolk with a high of 43, Lincoln with a high of 50, and Hastings with a high of 54. So now let's move on to our state lows. Chadron with a low of 34, Scottsbluff with a low of 35, Sydney with a low of 33, Valentine hitting that freezing mark with a low of 32, North Platte 31, McCook 34, again moving a little bit closer to home, Norfolk and Lincoln with a low of 30, and Hastings with a low of 33. So now let's take a look at the next 5 days to see how the weather is going to look into the weekend and into the next week. Friday, the high should reach around 63, but it might be a little chilly since there are supposed to be more clouds than sun throughout the day. On top of the clouds, there will also be wind shifting from both the south and the north at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. Although looking into However, looking into Saturday, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day with the high being 61 degrees with mostly sunny skies throughout the day. So make sure you go out and enjoy the sun. Looking into Saturday evening, it will get down to a low of 41 degrees. It will be pretty windy, so make sure that you wear a coat if you go out on Saturday night. On Sunday, it looks like it's going to be a little warmer with the high being around 65. Unfortunately, we won't see very much sun throughout the day. Winds will also be blowing around 20 to 30 miles per hour, so it's probably going to seem a little bit more chilly on Sunday. Looking into Sunday evening, the low will be 51 degrees, which is definitely better than the past few nights. The wind will be blowing around 15 to 25 miles per hour. Other than that, it should be a pretty warm night compared to what we have been having. It looks like it's going to be a pretty warm day to start off the week on Monday, with the high for the whole week being 74 degrees. There's a slight chance of thunderstorms in the morning, but the sun should come out around lunchtime. The winds will also be blowing at about 30 to 40 miles per hour, so we'll see if it feels as warm as it's supposed to be. Looking into Monday evening, it doesn't look too bad, with the low being 44 degrees. The winds will also die down as well, so it shouldn't be that cold of a night. On Tuesday, it's going to be around 65 degrees, with partly cloudy skies throughout the day. We won't see very much sun, but at least it won't be cold. Looking into Tuesday night, it will get around 40 degrees. There will be little to no wind throughout the night, but it'll still be pretty chilly. And now it's time for the ever-popular temperature tip. Due to the fact that this is the last BNN before spring break, my tip for you this week is to not forget to dig out some of your warmer clothes when you all go home for spring break. Make sure you don't put all your coats away though, because knowing Nebraska and Nebraska weather, you never know what the weather might do, so keeping a jacket on hand would be pretty smart. And other than that, just get your spring clothes on standby because the warmer weather is just around the corner. Coming up after the break, Jared and Haley will have an update on a pair of HC teams that will be heading into the Nationals, as well as all the other sport updates and news. Stay tuned, you're watching Bronco News Now.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome to Bronco News Now Sports. I'm Jared Fox, joined by Haley Moore. There's been a lot going on in the world of Hastings College and GPAC sports, and we have all of the coverage for you today, as well as updates on HC's baseball and softball teams, as well as taking a closer look at HC's strength and conditioning coach, Steve Schultz, and his return to Nebraska.
Like you said, Jared, the Great Plains Athletic Conference postseason tournaments are all wrapped up, and now we know who will be competing in the national championship.
That's right. On the men's side, Briarcliff, Dakota Wesleyan, and Nebraska Wesleyan are the only schools from the conference to get invited to nationals. However, on the women's side, the GPAC had 6 teams make it to the championship field, led by the #1 overall seed and defending national champion Morningside.
Joining the Mustangs in Sioux City will be Briarcliff, Concordia, Mount Marty, Dakota Wesleyan, and our own Hastings College Broncos, who received a 6th seed in the championship and will be playing the 3-seeded Tabor College Blue Jays on Thursday, March 10th at 8:30 a.m. You can watch the Broncos right here on hcmediaonline.org, listen along on 90.1 KFKX, and check out further coverage on the whole championship at www.mynaiattourney.org.
The Broncos were on the bubble after their early loss in the GPAC tournament, so prior to the tournament announcements, they were not sure if they would make the championship field. Austin Penfield was there at the championship announcement watch party, where Hastings College eventually found out their fate.
Despite making an early exit out of the GPAC Championship Tournament with a loss to Dakota Wesleyan, the Hastings College women's basketball team still had high hopes it would receive an at-large bid for the NAIA National Championship. All doubt was erased when the team discovered they had received the second-to-last at-large bid on Wednesday night. First-year head coach Gina Johansson was grateful of the opportunity for her team to play on a national stage and thankful for all the hard work her athletes put in to make it to where they are.
I'm just happy for our seniors and for our players because, you know, by no means was this year an easy year. They were great to coach, they were a great team to coach, but, you know, we struggled some and it was always a fight. No matter what, it seemed like we were in close game after close game. So it's nice to be rewarded for kids for sticking it out.
The Broncos, who are making their third straight national tournament appearance, received a 6th seed and will play the Tabor Blue Jays in the opening round of the championship. Hastings previously played Tabor this past November and won the matchup 57-54. However, Johansson believes her team will meet a different Blue Jay team in the tournament than they did at the beginning of the season.
You know, I think it's probably going to be a completely different game. It was very early up in Mitchell, but when we played, and they had just the day before driven 8 hours and played that night against Dakota Wesleyan, and then they turn around and play at noon the next day. So for them, it was a major travel issue for them, and we didn't shoot it very well either. We were lucky enough to pull out the win, but I would imagine it's going to be a different team that we're facing up there on Thursday.
The Broncos will play Tabor on Thursday, March 10th at 8:30 a.m. in the Tyson Event Center at Sioux City, Iowa. For HC Media, I'm Austin Penfield.
The Broncos will look to replicate their early season victory against this Blue Jay squad, while Tabor will hope to avoid being eliminated by the championship from a GPAC school for the 3rd straight season.
The Bronco women's basketball team won't be the only HC sport heading to nationals, though. The HC Crimson Spirit dance team will be headed to Davenport, Iowa to compete in the 2016 NAIA Competitive Cheer and Dance National Invitational. The Broncos received an at-large bid and will compete on March 11th starting at 4:30. This is the first year that competitive cheer and dance will be represented as an NAIA national championship, and currently the NAIA is the only collegiate association to recognize competitive cheer and dance as an intercollegiate varsity sport.
In between our last show and the national championship brackets being announced, the GPAC tournaments concluded. Though both Bronco teams had early exits, there was still plenty of action to go around. On the men's side, the Briarcliff Chargers took home the conference title, defeating Nebraska Wesleyan 103-97 in a back-and-forth matchup. On the women's side, Morningside dominated Dakota Wesleyan 80-59 in the GPAC championship game. The Mustangs also defeated the College of St. Mary and Briarcliff on the way to the conference title.
Staying with the Great Plains Athletic Conference, postseason basketball honors were announced yesterday morning. HC senior Tika Thompson made the All-GPAC first team for the women's team. On the men's side, Carson Bloom and Connor Musel each made the All-GPAC second team. Nebraska Wesleyan's Trey Bardsley won the Hoff Mid-America Sports GPAC Player of the Year on the men's side. Bardsley was second in the country with points per game with 28.79. He even had 55 points in the GPAC tournament against Dakota Wesleyan. On the women's side, College of St. Mary's DeAndre Young was the Player of the Year as she led the conference in both points per game with 22.9 and rebounds per game with 13.15.
Now looking over to the Diamond, the Hastings College baseball team picked up its first wins of the season this past week, defeating then number 20 Sterling College 2-1 on February 26th and beating Graceland University 9-1 on February 28th. In between those two games, the Broncos dropped 3 close games to the University of Jamestown, who is receiving votes in the national rankings. Hastings will continue their season-opening road trip before playing their first home game on March 9th against York College. First pitch is scheduled for 5:30 p.m.
Looking now at the Broncos softball team, Hastings College is 2-2 since last week, sweeping Bethel College but falling twice to Kansas Wesleyan. The Broncos will continue their road trip as well, as they don't play a home contest until March 30th against Midland. Hastings next travels to Wichita, Kansas for the Friends University Tournament, taking place tomorrow and Saturday, where the Broncos will play 5 games in 2 days, opening up the weekend against Southwestern College tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Hastings College has many head coaches for their 23 sports. However, when it comes to the weight room at HC, there is only one. Russell Heitman takes a look at Steve Schultz and his return to Hastings College to run the strength and conditioning department.
Working as a strength and conditioning coach at multiple Division I schools is quite the individual accomplishment. Just as setting a world record and winning a gold medal in the World Games is an incredible feat as well. But doing both throughout one's career? Incredible. Steve Scholes, a native of York, Nebraska, has had an outstanding career, one that continues on at Hastings College as the head strength and conditioning coach for Bronco athletics. After working at both Stanford and Santa Clara University earlier in his career, Coach Scholes, known affectionately as Sarge, began to miss his Midwest roots, so he took a position at Boise State University.
When I was in California, I really liked it, but I started getting really tired of California, just the daily grind and the cost and the expense and that type of thing. And then the Boise job opened up, and I thought, well, I'll move to Boise because it's kind of like Nebraska. It's kind of, open and, different type of people and stuff.
So when Coach Scholes heard about his position opening at Hastings, he jumped on it, allowing him to return to the state he grew up in and calls home.
I thought, well, I moved to Boise because it was like Nebraska. Why don't I just move to Nebraska? Because it's actually Nebraska.
Scholes arrived at HC in 2013 and has since worked to improve the athletes' individual performances, help prevent injuries from occurring, and prepare athletes for their upcoming seasons. He says he loves his job and will continue to serve as HC's strength coach as long as he has a love for his craft.
I'm gonna do this as long as I love it. I get up every morning and I get fired up, and once I start getting up in the morning and go, I'm going to hit that snooze button and go back to bed because I don't want to go into work. I just love what I do. And even though I can't competitively lift or anything like that, I just like watching kids develop and grow.
Scholes also said he hopes his athletes take what they learn from him into their everyday lives, such as nutrition, stretching, and cardiovascular maintenance, that will help them have a great and healthy life after their playing days have ended. For HC Media, this is Russell Heitman.
Sarge has done an incredible job thus far at HC, and our weight department has grown immensely in his time with the Broncos. Coming up after the break, Kirsten Gilliland will recap the Oscars, look at the theater capstones, as well as examine HC's own version of the Oscars, the Cell Phone Film Festival.
But first, we would like to thank our other proud sponsor, Russ's Market. Stay tuned, you're watching Bronco News Now.
Hello Bronco Nation and welcome to Entertainment. I'm your host, Kirsten Gilliland. We've got lots of great content for you today, including Sunday's Oscar results and the weekly binge, so let's get started. Hastings College's third annual 24-hour Cell Phone Film Festival took place this weekend. Reporter Austin Druce has more on the event.
Hastings College students showed off their filmmaking abilities at the Lark on Tuesday night for the third annual Hastings College Cell Phone Film Festival. These films were to be shot solely with cell phone cameras, following the motif of the Four Seasons, and were to include an unlikely prop, a balloon. There was another catch for this year's producers, as they were to make the film in just 24 hours. Hastings College journalism and English professor Eric Tucker explains the reasoning behind the challenge.
So this is actually the first year that we've done, we've had the 24-hour restriction. I believe the first year that we did it, it was 48 hours. The second year, I think it was 72 hours. And we talked about it as a committee, and we just decided that, you know, we liked the kind of the adrenaline-fueled, you know, effort to try to get a film finished in 24 hours.
Students were encouraged to choose from the genre that best appealed to their fancy, leading to a wide range of topics covered, from jokes about a balloon that was popped just too soon to the seriousness of depression. The film that won Best Picture, Fealty Crimes by Sam Bennett and Josh Holbert, followed a film noir style that emulated that of Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese. This was the second consecutive win for Bennett and Holbert, and the festival looks to be a brewing tradition for the filmmakers of Hastings College.
But yeah, it's our second year in a row winning. Last year we won with a sort of comedy one called Le Dance du Sweet. But yeah, I think we're really excited about winning this time.
Reporting from the Lark in downtown Hastings, this is Austin Druce.
Thanks, Austin. I'll definitely have to grab a group of friends and participate next year. Coming up in a couple weeks are the theater department's annual senior capstones. Mallory Grubin has the scoop on all 3 productions.
Upperclassmen in the theater department are actively preparing for what many consider to be the height of their work here at Hastings College.
The capstone projects are the end-of-year student-directed by senior shows that we do to kind of show what we've learned as theater majors throughout our time here at Hastings.
James Bachman, Tyler Donovan, and Hannah Conlin have all selected a short one-act play to direct. As directors, these students are responsible for all the behind-the-scene tasks, such as casting the actors, creating a set design, and making a lighting plan.
Usually I'm the one being directed on stage, and now I'm going, oh, there's another side of it, and all these different things that you never think of, like the colour of the tops that they're wearing for the costumes, or the colour of the floor.
Bachman is directing a one-act titled The New Play. According to him, it is an interesting piece about existentialism and bringing forth new ideas. Donovan, on the other hand, selected a comedy titled Don't Look Down. Donovan's choice focuses on a man stuck on the ledge of the 14th floor of a building after a large amount of his money flies out the window. Conlin rounds out the group with her production titled Why.
So my show, I wrote myself, which is possibly the scariest thing I have ever done in my life. But mine is about suicide and mental health awareness. It's 4 friends in a room together dealing with a friend's recent suicide.
After nearly 1 month of hard work, the directors are excited to share their one-acts with an audience.
These are passion projects of students. This isn't something that we're trying to force out there and make money on. These are our creative ideas put onto the stage. And it is a reflection of the Hastings College experience that we are showing what we can do. And it's the reason that we've come here is to be actors and directors, entertainers and artists.
The theater capstone productions run March 11th to March 14th, and admission is free for Hastings College students. Reporting for HC Media, this is Mallory Grubin.
Thanks, Mallory. They all sound quite interesting, so it should be a fun experience. The internet imploded on late Sunday night as Leonardo DiCaprio finally won an Oscar. He won for his leading role in the film The Revenant. Incidentally, the director of that same film, Alejandro Iñárritu, won the Best Director Oscar for the 2nd year in a row, something that hasn't been done since the 1950s. Other big winners on the night were Room's Brie Larson for Best Actress, Mad Max Fury Road, which won almost every post-production related Oscar, and of course Spotlight, which won Best Picture and probably the biggest upset of the night. And now it's time for BNN's weekly binge-a-thon. We've got another great television show for you this week. NBC's late 1999, early 2000 hit, Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks stars many of today's hottest stars, who were then relatively unknown. These include Linda Cardellini, James Franco, Seth Rogen, Sam Levine, and Jason Segel. The show, which is set in Chippewa, Michigan in 1980, unfortunately lasted only a season and included 18 episodes. Because of this, it is the perfect show through which to get your Netflix streaming fix. Freaks and Geeks follows the adventures of 2 siblings, mathlete turned slacker Lindsay Weir Cardellini and her nerdy younger brother Sam, John Francis Daly, as they try to navigate high school life. Lindsay and her friends Daniel Desario, Franco, Ken Miller, Rogan, Nick Andopoulos, Segel, and Kim Kelly, Busy Phillips, make up the freaks or the rebellious outsiders, whereas Sam and his friends Neil Schweber, Levine, and Bill Haverchuk, Martin Starr, constitute the geeks. terms both of great significance in the show, as made obvious by the show's name. I would highly recommend Freaks and Geeks for anyone looking for a great way to just put off homework or kill time. Freaks and Geeks is a classic, ended too soon. Well, that's all we have for entertainment today. Join us back here after spring break as we take a look at the new events coming at you then. For now, let's send it back to Danielle and Nick at the desk.
Well, that wrapped things up for this week. Thanks for joining us.
We will look forward to returning on April 7th. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
And thanks for watching Bronco News Now.